Hi, this is Kmod. I'd like to continue with presentation on financial accounting N5 for South African TVET colleges, and I'd like to specifically focus on branches, and for ease of reference, I'd like to refer to this as part 2. I've already dealt with other general ledger accounts relating to the head office in respect of branches in part 2.1, and part 2.1 consists of various parts. In this presentation, I specifically want to focus my attention on the preparation of the branch account. For that reason, I'm going to continue to look at the 22 November 2016 question paper. Requirement 2.2 of that question paper required candidates to prepare the branch account. I'm going to employ the Excel spreadsheet to illustrate the preparation of the branch account. Without wasting your time, I'd like us to go to the question paper. That's 2.2. I quickly want to read the information. There you go, as highlighted. It says Toyland has its head office in Pretoria and a branch in Pettit. The head office keeps only one account in its books in which all transactions with regard to the branch are entered. So clearly, we use the head office uses the branch account to communicate the accounting treatment of transactions between the head office and its branches. So if there's any transaction that specifically relates to a transfer of any items between the head office and the branch, it will be communicated in the branch account. As I've already mentioned, I'm going to use the T account. I'd like to take you to the T account at this stage. There you go. Let me quickly delete that. So essentially, that's how the T account looks like. Just an emphasis. Remember that with any T account would consist of a debit side and a credit side. For the purpose of our studies, I'd like us to think of a branch account as branch debtors. So debtors and branch account, in this case, they're going to share same principles in terms of the accounting treatment relating to transactions. To be specific, the opening balance, as you know, if we're dealing with branch debtors, the opening balance would be reflected on the debit side. The closing balance would be reflected on the credit side. And any increase in debtors would be reflected on the debit side. Specifically for a branch account, if the head office sends any item, whether it's stock, any item that you can think of, if the head office sends to the branch, that transaction will be communicated by effecting a debit on the branch account. And if the head office receives anything from the branch, the transaction will be communicated by effecting a credit on the branch account. I hope I didn't confuse you. Let's quickly go make this principles applicable by looking at the transactions. Those were the given transactions. The first transaction I'd like to quickly highlight there, that's where we're at. It relates to the balance on the 1st of March 2015. I'm going to take that to the debit side as I've explained. I'm going to place a debit there. This relates to a balance BD. So this is a balance brought down. Moving along swiftly, I'm going to go to a list of transactions. I'm going to tackle the next transaction, which relates to a transfer of a desk from the head office by the branch. We're going to take that to the debit side of the branch account, because in this case, the head office is sending an asset to the branch. So I'm going to take it to the debit side. The contra account will be office equipment. Remember, in this case, the office equipment relating to the head office is decreasing because it's been disposed or it's been transferred to the branch. Therefore, if you go to the office equipment specifically relating to the head office, you'll see an amount of 2,400 being credited on the office equipment. And that indicates a decrease in the office equipment of the head office. Moving along swiftly, let's go to the next transaction. The next transaction relates to the supply of stock by the head office to the branch. The same principle applies as mentioned above. I'm going to copy, I'm going to place it there, and this relates to goods to branch. Moving along swiftly, the next transaction, remember this relates to goods that were actually sent to the branch. Moving along swiftly, I'm going to do the next transaction. The next transaction relates to that transaction, which is salaried. I'm going to take that and I'm going to place a debit on the branch account. Remember, in this case, we're going to use the bank as a control account. This is bank that specifically relates to the head office, as the head office's bank account is decreasing by the payment that is effected towards salaries of the branch. Moving along swiftly, we're dealing with that transaction, 88,200. I'm going to copy the 88,200. I'm going to copy it there. This specifically relates to a branch sending money to the head office. Therefore, it will be taken to the credit side, as I've already mentioned the principles earlier on. I'm going to call this bank. Bank is the control account. In this case, the bank of the head office is actually increasing with the money that it received from the branch. In that transaction, the bank of the head office was decreasing because the head office sent money to the branch. So you see the two transactions are opposing each other. Okay, moving along swiftly, the last transaction relates to the net profit. I'm going to call it profit or loss. I'm going to take it to the debit side as it increases the branch account. I'm going to call it profit and loss. Profit and loss. I'm going to place the amount of 5,500. The two balances, remember I didn't have that. I pre-populated a formula so that it can calculate the difference between the debit and the credit side. I already worked out, I knew that the debit side was going to be greater than the credit side. So this is a balancing figure. I'm going to call it balance carried down. Of course, for you to earn that principal mark, you have to take it there, and those two amounts must be the same. There's two amounts are the same. I'm quickly gonna go, the two amounts are the same. Thank you. If there are any questions, please post them to my email address. Let me quickly go to the slide, post them to my email, or you can actually post them via WhatsApp. Thank you.